If I told you you were beautiful, would you date me on the regular? Tell me, would you? Well, baby, I've been around the world, but I ain't seen myself another girl like you.
Hi guys, welcome to Date the Nerd. I'm Christy.
And I'm Elon. Like always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Today we got an interesting video. Today is about navigating through your 20s. She already went through her 20s. I'm currently going through mine. So yeah, let's just get right into the video.
So I've done a lot of television, a lot of interviews, and people always ask me the question, what would I tell my 20-year-old self, right? And it just so happens that I have a 20-year-old daughter. So we're going to use this episode today to talk about some things that I wish that I knew when I was 20 years old. Okay. So number one, I wish that I knew that it was okay to be single and just get to know myself without being in relationships all the time. You know, I would call myself in my 20s, I was like a serial monogamous, was always in a relationship, always tied to somebody else. And when you're tied to somebody else all the time, it's hard to get to know yourself.
Yeah, you identify with that person, or you identify with being in a relationship.
Exactly. And I think that, I would just tell my younger self, you know what, take some time to be alone, learn yourself, date yourself, date the nerd in you.
Date the nerd in yourself. Nerd is just something that fascinates you, something that you're passionate about. Find what you're passionate about and date that. Go after that. One thing I've been saying is like, I'm going to be ready when my man comes. I've done things to nurture myself. So when my man comes, I've already built myself up. So, you know what I'm saying?
I didn't give myself that. I was just always in a relationship. So I would tell my 20-year-old self, give yourself some time. You don't have to always be in a relationship. Get to know yourself. Okay.
I like that. One thing that I'm learning in my 20s is it's important to have good relationships and good connections. Do not burn every bridge. But you do not need a lot of friends. You don't have yourself a good couple of good friends. And also, it's okay to have different friends for different things. I felt like if she my friend, she should fill every area and vice versa.
It's really not that way.
That's not how it works. But that's a young mindset. You think that, oh, we friends? Okay, we supposed to be able to party together, vent to each other, go to church. No, you have different friends for different reasons. And that's okay. Seriously.
It's totally okay. So something else that I wish when I was 20 years old. You know what's crazy? I bought my first house when I was 23 years old.
Really?
When I was 23 years old. So I did have an understanding of home ownership and real estate and stuff like that. And I started selling real estate when I was 28 years old, right? But I would just tell any young person, 20-year-old, is to save and invest your money. And real estate is not a bad option. Okay. It's really not a bad option. Real estate,
okay.
Renting out real estate, being, homeowners and renting out your property, whatever, is one of the few ways that you can make money while you're sleeping.
Is Airbnb, is that real estate?
It is real estate. Okay, something else that I would tell my 20-year-old self is enjoy your life, have fun, but do the tough things.
In your 20s?
Do the tough stuff that you don't always want to do, so that you can do what you want. Do the stuff you have to do in your 20s so you can do what you want to do later on in life.
And I think that's what I've been having a hard time with the most. It's like, I'm young, so I need to live. But then it's like, I'm also trying to prepare for my future. So
if you can find a happy medium, in sacrificing a little bit, but also sprinkling some fun in there at the same time.
Going hard during the week, party on the weekends. For real.
Work hard, play hard. What can I tell you?
What you say? My mom always says, I work to fund the fun.
Work to fund the fun, and also to fund your freedom. If you can avoid having to work till you're 70 or something years old, unless you really, really want to,
for real.
The only way to avoid that is the decisions that you make in your 20s. Seriously.
I want to say, I realized recently, I don't have a dream job. I don't want to work.
Me either.
I don't want to work. There is no dream job.
There's nothing wrong with that. So you know what you're going to have to do. You may have to make some sacrifices. You may have to work somewhere. The beautiful thing about it is you've already experienced having a business. You had your own catering business, right? And it's still work, but the closest thing to being free is to being not just being an entrepreneur, but being an entrepreneur doing something that you actually find joy in.
Mm-hmm.
It won't necessarily feel like work. And you do that because hopefully if you are happy doing it, you'll make enough money to eventually buy your freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Something else that I would tell my 20-year-old self is you don't have to have it all figured out.
Mm.
You don't have to have it all figured out because there's one thing that's constant in life, and it is change.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have it all figured out at 20 years old, there's an excellent chance it's going to change your desires, your career goals. When I was 20 years old, I was getting a degree in marketing. I changed my entire paradigm and my entire career and became a therapist when I was 40 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have it all figured out. And it's wonderful if you're somebody like Prince or Beyonce or even Michael Jackson who knew at like 5 years old what they wanted to do, and they did that for their entire lives. But a lot of people don't always have it figured out when they're children and when they're young adults. So you know what?
It's okay.
It's okay if you don't have it all figured out. I would just say keep moving and try your best to go in directions that are bringing you joy.
And another thing is,
bringing you joy.
I feel like it's so hard with social media. We feel like we're behind all the time.
And you're not. You're not behind.
I feel like we're behind all the time.
You're not behind.
And it's okay. It's okay to live a normal life. It's okay to work a normal job. Everybody is not a social media influencer. Everybody can't live this glamorous lifestyle, but you can eventually. It's okay to work a 9 to 5 until you reach financial freedom. That's okay. So yeah, it's okay to take a year off of college to stack your bread or to get your mind right. It's okay. It's okay to live at home with your parents a year or two after you graduate to figure out what you want to do for your next steps in life. That's okay as well.
It's okay. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace.
We say that a lot. My mom was the mom who was like, you need a mental health day? My mom was going to give me a mental health day before like a sick day at school. That's the therapist in her. She used to say, you need a mental health day. It's okay. Give yourself some grace. Go back to sleep. We're going to try again tomorrow. For real. Like she was that
I did do mother. That, didn't I?
You did do that.
I did do that.
Seriously.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not always, you're not always physically sick. You're not always physically tired. Sometimes you're mentally and emotionally tired. And I gave my kids days when I could see that they were just too overwhelmed. You know, I never forced them beyond their capacity. Sometimes the people that you pour into, they're not going to be the people that pour back into you. It's going to be somebody else that pours into you. And you need to be okay with that. Because you may have a purpose in a particular person's life to give to them, to impart into them, to educate them. But they may not be able to give that same thing back to you, and you need to be okay with that. They may not end up being in your life but for a moment because there's maybe something that you need to give them. But, you know, what you can count on, what you can guarantee is that there's going to be somebody else coming along to pour into you as well. You don't always get back from people what you gave to them.
So do you cut people off whenever you feel like that, though?
Not necessarily. No, you don't have to cut everybody off. That's another thing too. If you're constantly cutting people off, I don't know if that's a good thing. That's toxic behavior. If you're the kind of person that's got to cut people off all the time, that means you're choosing poorly. And I think it's a good idea to choose who comes into your life. Put more thought into that. You don't have to connect to everybody immediately to the point where you got to be cutting people off all the time. You know, but yeah, you know what's interesting? The way that life is set up. For the most part, you won't have to cut people off. They'll fall off. Yeah. People will fall off. When their purpose is done in your life, they'll fall off just naturally. And you just let them go with grace and love, you know, and thank them for the time and the experience that they had in your life, you know.
This is like the most cliche thing ever, but I've been living my life like this for a minute now. Everything truly does happen for a reason. It really does.
It is a cliche that it drives me nuts, but it's true.
It's so annoying. Everything happens for a reason. And I'm seriously understanding that some of the worst things that have happened to me, I'm like, you know what? This joy that I have, I would not have this if I didn't go through that. Everything, I don't want to say it's for the greater, but it'll make sense in the end for sure. Everything comes full circle in this life thing, like for real.
Look at you, philosopher at 20 years old.
I'm trying.
Only 20 years old.
So this will be my last one. I've really been letting my mom talk for real because I'm just now entering my 20s. Something that my brother taught me a couple years back was your face card is really important. Your face card is important. You have to walk in your truth, but also into the person that you want to be. I want to be seen as a gracious person who stands on business, who knows what she wants, who doesn't know everything, who's willing to learn. So I have to walk like that in this world. I'm a college student. I can't walk around with my head down. No, I want to learn. I want to make connections. I want to be a YouTuber. I have to be able to make connections with people. I want to have a smile on my face. I want to be approachable. But at the same time, I don't want to be taken advantage of. So your face card is very important.
I've never been a chaser, but this is what I would tell a 20-year, just a young woman in general. Or young man, it just doesn't matter. It's not a gender thing.
Excuse me, guys.
Whatever you chase in life, right, will forever elude you.
Elaborate, please.
Whatever you chase in life will forever elude you, even money. You should be attracting things into your life. How do you attract things into your life? You set yourself up. It's just like what you said about the face card situation. You move in a certain kind of way, right? If you want to be successful, you hang around successful people. You present yourself in a way that a successful person would. You speak the words that come.
Like you already have
you
it.
walk like you already have it. You don't speak negativity. You don't talk about being broke. You talk about what you're going to have. You don't have to lie or brag about anything, right? But you need to be moving in the direction that you want to go. And I think that's what you mean by your face card, right?
That's what I meant by my face card.
Exactly.
Y'all. I kind of lost it in the sauce, but that's what I'm trying to say.
And you will attract.
You will attract things when you move like that. I like the way she shines. I like her aura. You know what I'm saying? I want to be around her. And vice versa. You want to be around people who have that glow, who have that spark for life. If that makes sense.
Right.
You want to. It's an attraction.
And you won't have to chase it.
Yeah.
And that includes relationships.
Friendships,
anything in life,
money,
friendships, you should never have to be chasing
goals.
after anything. Most of the time, if you're chasing it, that means it's
not
running.
For you.
And it means it's running. It's running away from you. Attract it by the energy that you put out in this world, by the way that you carry yourself, right? We tend to, and especially in relationships, we tend to attract that which we are. If you are positive, you are healthy, 9 times out of 10, you're going to ultimately, eventually, right, attract somebody that is responsive to that, you know?
Okay, guys, we just wanted to make that little video for y'all. Y'all, a lot of these videos are therapeutic for me. Yes. Sometimes these are very relevant videos. I'm like, Mom, you know what? I've been kind of having a mental warfare. Give me some advice. And we was like, what better way than to make a video about it? This can help somebody else as well. So,
absolutely, and that's why we do what we do.
Yes, ma'am. Like always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Leave any suggestions down below. We're so happy you guys are here on our journey. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, cool.